All right. In this video, we're going to see how we can use a flow to find how many times a case was reopened. This is one of a common asks, especially from a service manager, customer service manager, to find the root cause why a case has been reopened multiple times, right? So to help customer service manager, we have to find out how many times a case was actually reopened, so that the service manager can pay attention to and then see what exactly went wrong, why the case was opened up multiple times, right? So this is the business use case we have taken up today. And yeah, as a customer service manager, a new report is being built, and in that report we have to show an indicator indicating how many times a case was reopened. And certainly this will help the service manager to prioritize the cases that need more attention, and also talk to the customers, and then to keep them satisfied, right? Because the customer would naturally be unhappy when the case was reopened multiple times, right? So also this will help the customer service manager to find the root cause, correct? So let us see how we can build this using Flow. So as a Salesforce administrator, you're going to do it without writing a single line of code. So these are the things that we will learn, we will use, and we will learn in this implementation. So we will use a record triggered flow, and we will also use a decision element to find whether the case was reopened or not. And most importantly, we will use a record prior global variable to find the previous case status and the current status, and then compare both and figure out whether a case was reopened or not. And then we will use a formula field to show a red, amber, green indicator. So this is the expected output. As you can see, this is the report that as customer service manager would like to see. And if we manage to create a report and then like this, and then add this to the daily dashboard to the service manager, it will help service manager to certainly take a look and then take appropriate actions, isn't it? So uh, to uh, to get this implemented, there are two new custom fields introduced in the on the case object. So one is case reopen count, other one is reopen indicator. Case reopen count is a simple number field, and this will keep a track of how many times a case was reopened. Number one. Number two, the reopen indicator, this is a RAG indicator, yeah, a red, amber, green, and this is nothing but a simple formula field, and this is the formula, yeah. So this will work based on the value on this particular field, case reopen count. If the case reopen count is more than 3, then the indicator, right, more than or equal to 3, the indicator will just show a red flag. If it is between 1 and 2, then 1 and 2, then it will be amber. If it is not reopened, or case is not reopened, then it's all green. So this is the report that at the end of the day, right, we wanted to create and then add it to service manager dashboard. Yeah. So when it comes to the design steps, the implementation is fairly simple. So we are going to write a trigger and record trigger, and this will run on case, and this will quickly check the status change. In a case, we have multiple status options, right? New, working. So we are introducing a new case status called resolution provided. So resolution provided indicates that a customer service representative has given a solution to a customer problem. And if the customer is satisfied, then the case will get marked as closed. Otherwise, it will again be reopened by just changing the status from resolution provide to working, or if the status is changed from closed to working, then also it is considered as the case has been reopened. In such cases, in such instances, right, we wanted to increment the counter, yeah, and then we wanted to ensure that the reopen count custom field is updated, right, so that the flag can be shown in the report. So this is what we're going to do it in the flow. So the only object used in the flow is the case object. Let us move forward and then start creating the flow now. All right. So these are the two custom fields added: case reopen count and case a reopen indicator. Right. One is the number field to hold the number of times the case was reopened, and the other one is a formula field, to show uh, the flag. And here's the formula for the reopen indicator, and you can just see this, right? It works based on the value on reopen count. Yeah, and also, I'm just loading an image. So if you're wondering where did I get this image, image samples flag underscore red, Salesforce has got a nice App Exchange product. It is Lightning Graphics Pack. It's from Salesforce Labs. It is entirely free. All you can do is just go to the App Exchange and then get this graphics pack installed. Once it is done, you have hundreds and hundreds of images to use. So one of the images is this flag, red flag or yellow flag and green flag. All I have to do is just, mention the path. That's all it is. So this comes really handy when you want to show some nice images, in your reports or in your detail page, etc., etc. So this is, I'm using in the formula field. Yeah, and yeah. So this is how the output will look like. This is just a list view, but at the end of the day, we wanted to create a report and then add it to the dashboard. So once, as soon as we see an output like this, I think our flow will just has completed its job, right? So let's see how we can able to do this. So let's go to the flow. Let's try to create a new flow, and this is going to be a record triggered flow. Yeah, because it has to happen in the background, and also this flow should start, yeah, should trigger whenever there is a change in the case object, right, in the case record. So especially when a record is updated, not when it is created but when it is updated. Yeah, and no entry conditions, and I'm going to use go with this fast field updates. This is equal to before save option. Yeah, and because I'm going to update a field that is on the same object that is triggering the flow. So that's the reason I'm going to use this fast field updates. Let's say done. And the very first thing is I need to know whether a case has been reopened or not, right? For which certainly I need to make a decision, isn't it? So I'll click plus symbol, and I'll go with this decision box. Yeah, I'll just say is case reopened is the name. Yeah. So three things possible. One is uh, so it's from status. So I'll just say resolution provided to working status. Yeah, so that's the first one. And the second outcome could be, the user can reopen a case, right, from closed to working status. Yeah, and we'll just say none. All right, so we have, three conditions now. So we'll just go on and set the conditions. Resolution provided to working, and this is where we can take a help from the global variable record pair, because the case that is triggering the flow, we need to check the current value as against the previous case status. So in such cases we can use record prior, and in record prior I just wanted to check the status if this equals to resolution provided, and the is um, current status is working, which means the user has changed, the sales rep has changed or service rep has changed the status from resolution provided to working. Then this condition gets executed. Yeah, this condition is set to true. We can also check if whether it is the status field that has changed. Yeah, so we just wanted to ensure that this is happening, only when that status field is changed in the case. Yeah, perfect. And I can just say done. So let me just check the error. What is that error? Oh, sorry, I have not given any condition to this. Yes, let me do that. So same thing. If the record prior status is equal to closed, and if the current status is working, and if the user has changed the status field, if it is true, yeah, then I would like this condition set to true. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I can just I would have combined both these into one single condition, but to make it simple, right, I just wanted to do I just wanted to do it in two different parts. Okay, so let's say done, and now you just see three branches, right? All right, so the moment when a status is changed, right, which means the case has been reopened, I need to increment the counter, isn't it? So for which I need to know the previous value. If the current case reopen counter is 1, then I have to pick that 1 and then increment it by 1, isn't it? If it is 2, then I have to increment 1. You have to increment the number by 1 so that I'll get 3 as my reopen count. So somehow I have to preserve the previous reopen counter value, for which simply what we can do is we can use a formula variable. So let's see how we can do it. I'll go to this resources. I'll get a new resource. Okay, I'll create a formula. Okay, I'll just say uh, current case reopen counter value. So this is the formula variable name, and this is going to hold me a number, no decimal. And first what I'll do is I will search for, okay, is blank. So I want to see if the from the current record, from the current record, what is the reopen count? Yeah, so is blank. So if it is blank, okay, which means the case has not been reopened yet, right? Then I can safely mark, I can say safely, say 0. Yeah. If it is reopened, if that is a value, if it is not blank, then I have to just, use that value, correct? So what I'll do is I'll keep this one as is. I'm just going to insert if function. I'll just say if this is blank, then go with 0. Okay. Otherwise, otherwise, just keep the value. That's it. Just keep the value preserved, the current value preserved. That's all, is it, right? So we'll just say done. Before we do it, let's check the syntax. Valid, done. Cool. Now let's do this. Let's create a variable. Okay, just to temporarily hold this value, the value from the formula. Of course, I can directly use it, but I just wanted to make it little uh, a few additional steps so that you get a complete clarity of how we can implement this. Okay, but we can able to optimize this and then do it in one single go. Okay, uh, variable underscore we'll just say case reopen counter. It's a variable, yeah, and this is going to hold a number for me. Perfect. And no decimals. Let me just say done. And now let us introduce the assignment element. I'll just say assign current reopen counter value, and we'll just assign this. We'll just pick the variable we just created, and this variable should be equal to the formula that we just created. Yeah, that's it. Current case reopen counter value. We'll just say done. Okay. I would like to introduce one more formula. Okay, one more formula. which is f underscore case reopen counter increment by 1. Okay, so this is the formula name. What I'm going to do is, and of course, this is going to hold a number. And what I'll do is, I'll just use the previous formula. I will just say plus 1. That's all it is. Just to increment this by 1. Okay. So I got all the things, stored in variables and formulas. All I have to do is I just have to simply go ahead and then say, so right here, we just, got hold of the current reopen counter value. And all we have to do is we just have to update the triggering record, which is update case reopen counter by 1. So use the case record that triggered the flow, yes, and we can simply say reopen count is equal to, yeah, by 1. So this is the formula we just created, right, which increments the reset counter or reopen counter by 1, which is simply assign this. That's it. Done. Cool, right? And then just end this one. So we're gonna do this. For the same, we're gonna repeat the same steps for this condition as well, right? But instead of just replicating the same steps, what we can do is we can introduce connect. So we'll just use connect to element, okay, and then we'll just say that's it. So now when a status is changed from closed to working, it will using this connector, we did not replicate the steps or copy the same steps again. Instead it will just go to this and then assign find the current value and then increment that by 1 and then update the case reopen counter. That's it. Okay, so in this case it is just the status is not changed, so it will just end that flow. So that's it, a very simple flow. All we have to do is first we just have to save and then activate and then test it. I'll just say record triggered flow update case reopen count. Just save this first. Right, looks like the name is already exists. Reopen count, update case, reopen count. Let's save this. Oh, sorry. I think the API name needs to be corrected. Let's remove this. Yep. All right. So let's activate this now and then test it. Okay, let's go to the list view. Okay, now I have few cases in new status. So let's try to change the status from new to let's make it working first. Okay, and of course let me just go to this particular case first, and yeah, it's green because the case has not been reopened. Let's change this to working. Save. Of course, there is no change in the case reopen count. Let's change this to resolution provided. Okay, cool. So right now this is in resolution provided status. If I change this status back to working, then it indicates that I have reopened the case, right? Let's see what happens when I do it. You can see this, right? The case reopen count is incremented by 1. Let's try this again. And also the indicator changed from green to amber, right? Let's say again resolution provided, second time. And if I switch this back to working, I should see the reopen count incremented by 2, isn't it? So let's save. As you can see this, right, the case reopen count is incremented by again by 1. So now I've opened the case 2 times. Let's change this again just to see if we hit this um red flag. So let me change this. So now totally three times the case has been reopened, and what you see right here is the reopen indicator, right? Shows uh, red flag. So this is what we wanted to use in the reports, right? So that I can show a nice report to the service manager, right? And then service manager can make appropriate or take appropriate actions and to see, to find the root cause of this multiple times reopening a case, isn't it? So perfect. So we built a very simple flow that will help us to uh, check how many times a case has been reopened, right? The other thing, what we did learn in this video is the graphics pack, right? So just it's a simple Apex Switch product which you can use, which you can install and then start using in your application from Salesforce, labs. So that's it, pretty much. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.